Today we're going to be going over terminating and repeating decimals. So go ahead and write this vocabulary down in your notebook. We have a rational number, and that is any number that can be written or rewritten as a fraction. So that includes decimals that either repeat or it could be ending. Okay, so anything that can be written as a fraction. Not all decimals can be rational numbers though, and I'll explain that a little bit later. Terminating decimals is a decimal that ends. For example, 1/8 equals 0.125. A repeating decimal is a decimal that repeats in a pattern forever. So like 2/3 equals 0.666 and it keeps on going. So we write it with 0.6 with a bar notation or bar over that number. And here's the bar notation, the bar that is placed over the digits that repeat in a repeating decimal. So going a little bit deeper, what are rational numbers? They are whole numbers, integers, terminating decimals, and repeating decimals. Not all numbers are rational though. So these numbers are called irrational numbers. For example, pi. It goes 3.1415 and so on and so forth, right? So why isn't pi a rational number? Well, because it keeps on going forever. You can't make it into a fraction. All right, we are going to allow you a calculator for this. So we want to write 5/12 as a decimal. So in your calculator, you would type 5 divided by 12. So this is the same thing. I'm going to write 5 divided by 12, and I get 0.41666, and it keeps on going. And then sometimes you'll see a 7, but that 7 does not mean it repeats. It's just rounding. So the 6's are actually repeating. So how we write a repeating decimal is we go to what the first number is repeating, and so we put a bar over that number. So in this case, 6 is repeating, so we put a bar over the 6. And that is your final answer. For this one, we need to write -2/9 as a decimal. So in this case, it is negative number, so I'm going to go ahead and put a -0. I know it's less than 1. So I'm going to put that. And then in my calculator, I'm going to type in 2 divided by 9. And when I do that, I get this number, 2, 2, 2, 2, and it repeats. Okay? So to show it as a repeating decimal, I'm going to put -0.2 and then a bar over the 2. And that is your final answer. All right, this one is a mixed number, so I have -2 and 2/3 as a decimal. So what this means is that I have 2 wholes. So I'm going to put my -2 and put my decimal. But all I have to do is actually, in my calculator, just do 2 divided by 3. We just have to do the fraction part because we know the whole numbers will stay as a whole. Right? And the whole numbers will be to the left of the decimal. So when I type in 2 divided by 3, I get 0.66 and it repeats. Okay? So to change that, to put it in my decimal, I don't put that 0 there. I just put what's left over here. So the 6 is repeating, so I would just put the repeating bar notation over the 6. So my answer would be -2.6 repeating. All right, Frankie made 34 out of 44 free throws this season. To the nearest thousandth, what is his free throw average? So I need to figure out how many he's making 34 out of 44. And when I do that, that just means 34 divided by 44. So put that in your calculator. And when you do, you get 0.7727, and it said nearest thousandths. So remember that this is your tenths, hundredths, and this is your thousandths. Okay. So that means you have to look at this number to see if you need to change your thousandths place. And since it's greater than 5, the 7 is greater than 5, this will make the 2 go up by 1. So that means that my number would be 0.773. So what does that mean? That means that his free throw average is 0.773. And I would say Frankie's. All right, that's the end of the lesson. Good luck on the finding repeating decimals and finding terminating decimals.